The worst topic to ever get involved in, whether it's TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, it's always the trans conversation. There's always this weird, hoopla for all of it. But this is coming because of Elon Musk's recent tweet that says, repeated targeted harassment against any account will cause the harassing accounts to receive at minimum temporary suspensions. The words cis or cisgendered are considered slurs on this platform. That's a bit weird, mainly because, if these words are slurs, you just use slurs on your tweet. I genuinely think that Elon Musk getting Twitter was probably bad for his reputation, because now he's at the center of controlling one of the most popular platforms online. And look, I don't hate Elon Musk at all. I don't really know him. I don't really care much about him. And when it comes to politics, to me, it's always be respectful of other people. Be honest with yourself. And, if someone disagrees or agrees, just conversate about it. And that's it. Look, if you're left or right, whatever, I don't care. As long as you're not being dickheads to one another, okay? You constantly have liberals calling conservatives Nazis. And you constantly have conservatives calling liberals groomers. It's this whole back and forth. But what's funny is when Elon first got Twitter, he actually put out a tweet saying, giving that Twitter serves as a de facto public town square, failing to adhere to free speech principles fundamentally undermines democracy. What should be done? And look, when he first got Twitter, it was always this big conversation of Elon is bringing back free speech, free speech, free speech. Now, to me, I don't really think censorship is honestly all that real, because you got people like Andrew Tate or Sneeko, or, by the way, I'm not saying they shouldn't have a platform, but you got these big guys who claim to be canceled, but yet they're able to say whatever they want available online. And to me, when it comes to canceling, while I do think it's real, obviously cancellation is real. Look at what happened with Call Me Carson. That guy was canceled because Keemstar wanted to be a dickhead. But when you look at canceling, I would even say 70% of the time, it's just people either being paranoid of being canceled, or people who had just a couple people disagree with them, and all of a sudden they're like, the cancel culture mob is coming after me. And I get so sick and tired of it, because we do have free speech. I have free speech. I can make videos here on YouTube, and I've said some vulgar things. I've said things that people agree and disagree with me on. I've had good takes. I've had bad takes. And to me, I just feel like people are so overtly sensitive. And I'm not just talking about liberals, I'm talking about conservatives. Conservatives are so sensitive. Anytime a gay person exists, it's always, they're trying to indoctrinate our children. It's like at some point, people would need to start minding their own business. Haven't your parents taught you? Respect one another, bro. Treat people the way you want to be treated. So when it comes to this whole cis and cisgender, whatever, when it comes to trans as a whole, I don't see why anyone cares. My whole opinion is always, who cares? Who cares? Does somebody want to transition? Cool, let them. It won't affect you. Oh, are you too scared to accidentally have sex with a trans woman? Because to me, that's what it really boils it down to. I feel like people are just scared to have sex with trans women. Look, that's not wrong. That's not transphobic. If you don't want to have sex with a trans woman, that's okay. Same thing with trans men. At the end of the day, if you want to have sex with whoever you want to, as long as they're consenting adults, that's what's important. And that's all that matters. Okay? If someone wants to be a woman, let them be a woman. If someone wants to be a dude, let them be a dude. I don't get why people care so much. You got people genuinely boycotting Bud Light for just giving a trans woman her own beer. They didn't publicly promote it. They weren't publicly marketing saying, "Hey guys, we got a trans flag and all that, and we're gonna make our beer trans." And it's like, no. And then you got Xbox or Call of Duty or whatever, and I won't lie to you, that was BS what they did with that one guy. But you saw people all of a sudden being like, "They're groomers, they're groomers." It's like, just shut up. Just shut up, bro. Get off the internet. Do something productive with your life. Who cares? As long as it's not being taught to children, that's okay. Because I'm being honest when I say this, children shouldn't be taught about LGBT stuff. At most, they should just be taught to respect one another, which is what we should be teaching from the beginning of our, and even me. I grew up very homophobic. I grew up in a very homophobic time, which honestly, that was just 5 years ago, realistically. But, I grew up in a time where, being homophobic, transphobic, that was pretty normal. But I remember in high school especially, and this was when I was probably at my most homophobic, but I remember in high school there was almost what is called a gay straight alliance. It's just people, or a lot of people in my school. There was a couple gay people, there was lesbian people, and there were straight people, and we all just kind of realized, who cares? Why does it matter? There's gay people there, there's lesbian people here. Doesn't freaking matter, okay? And I think that's what people really need to start thinking about. It doesn't matter as long as you're not harming somebody else. So when it comes to Elon Musk's comment on making cis a slur, he doesn't care about slurs. He doesn't care about this or that. What he cares about is acting virtuous to conservatives. Now, when it comes to virtue signaling, I've never liked virtue signaling. To me, virtue signaling is one of the most cringe things someone could do. Virtue signaling is cringe, and it's annoying, and it's just a bunch of people pretending to act virtuous for their side. Unfortunately, with a lot of liberals, you see that. You'll see a lot of liberals, when they're called racist or anything, their immediate response is, I'm not racist, I have a black friend, or I'm not racist, I have an Asian friend. Bro, just shut up. Or, I'm not sexist because I like women. It's like, no, you can be racist and sexist. I feel like it's a little more sus when you think you can't be just because you're friends with certain, like, it's just weird to me. But you see that with conservatives too. You'll see conservative pundits or people who are trying to more go down to conservative, like a conservative audience will usually say something that they know conservatives love and will use it and say that constantly. And you see that a lot. So virtue signaling exists on both sides. Social justice warriors exist on both sides. The only issue is people don't really want to have a conversation about that. And to me, Elon Musk kind of panders more to conservatives. And I'm not saying he can't be a conservative or you can't be a liberal. I have friends who are liberals. I have friends who are conservatives. I grew up in a very conservative area, and I would consider myself to be more of a left-leaning person. And I feel like that's even kind of obvious in my videos. I think people can get the gist that I'm a pretty left-leaning person, but I still make edgy jokes. I still love talking to conservatives. I'll even say some of the best conversations I've had have been with conservatives. But to me, I hate this whole pandering towards conservatives that people do, but don't really pay attention to. They'll talk about how much they hate virtue signaling, how much they hate people being liberal, and then it's like, you do the same thing, you just do it for the other side, And I feel like people nowadays are being so mind controlled to think you have to be on one side or the other. Look, I'm a left-leaning person, but you're not going to see me bowing down to every left-leaning belief, And I think the same thing should apply for everyone, especially if you're alt-left or alt-right. If you're one of those two, try to move a little closer to the center. Not saying go to the center, but just try moving away from those extreme sides. And to me, that's what Elon Musk's tweet really feels like. It doesn't feel like he cares about slurs being used. He doesn't care about cis or trans or whatever. All he cares about is acting virtuous to his side. And cis is not a slur. Same thing with the word trans. Trans is not a slur. These are just words used to say who a person is. I'm cis. That means that I grew up with with the gender that I'm still am. Like, I'm a guy. I was born a guy. Still am a guy. And then trans obviously means you transitioned out to either being man or woman, and I feel like people overcomplicate things because right now it's almost like, and I feel like this has always been true about society. People always want to use something to blame their problems on. Like, you have some people who will blame their parents for how they were raised, or you'll have people, and that does apply, by the way, I'm not saying it isn't, but then you'll have like parents who will blame video games on making kids dumb, or TikTok making kids dumb, or you're doing this, or you're doing that. It's always something. It's like you need a boogeyman in order to hate something. And when I was younger, I remember I wasn't allowed to watch certain cartoons or certain shows. At one point, I couldn't even watch SpongeBob because my parents thought that there was that SpongeBob was gay because of this one episode where SpongeBob and Patrick are taking care of a clam, and to them it's just the devil is trying to use its puppets to manipulate the children, and that was my parents' logic. Obviously, that's wrong because that's not what SpongeBob is. Okay, I think everyone can agree that SpongeBob is not satanic, right? And I feel like that's always going to happen. You're always going to see people using a boogeyman. Liberals use that with Trump. They use Trump as the boogeyman. You're going to have conservatives using Biden as the boogeyman. There is this friend of mine I follow who nearly every day I go on Instagram and he posts a story, it's always something about Biden is worse than Kim Jong-un and Biden grooms children. And then there's times where I've seen people post the similar things about Trump, saying Trump is this evil Hitler-like person. It's like, calm down, okay? Calm down. I'm fine if you hate a politician. That's okay. But we need to relax and calm down. And the same applies to Elon. You don't care about cis. You don't care about slurs. Want to know how I know that? Because when you first got Twitter, literally the #1 trending word for a while was the N-word. The N-word, probably the biggest slur out of all of them. And that word was just trending everywhere. And cis has never been used as a slur. Every time I've heard cis has just been to apply, oh, okay, you're not trans. Cool. That's literally it. That's literally it. And Elon, you can't be that guy who talks about free speech, free speech, free speech, and then do this to say, oh, if you use cis, that's offensive. You're about free speech. But you're really not. You're just virtue signaling to conservatives. You're just pandering to them because it's easy. Because there's a market to pander towards conservatives. There's also a market to pander towards liberals. You see liberal accounts like Destiny or Xander Hall or Vosh or whatever, those guys getting famous because of the liberal views. But then you also got a lot of conservatives, whether you're talking about Matt Walsh or Steven Crowder or Candace Owens or what was it, the one white girl, Bethany Cooper, I think that's what her name is. You got these people who are easily able to get easy views from talking about something controversial, but about their side. Because right now, that's the easy thing to do. It's easy to milk people's perspective on this. We just have to accept trans people exist. It doesn't hurt you. Trans people have always existed. They have. Same thing with gay people. Gay people have always existed. But we're overcomplicated things. I'm fine if you find it weird. I won't lie to you. I find it weird. I won't lie to you. To me, I don't know what the idea is for someone to switch their gender. And that's okay. It's okay to find things weird because the world is complex. The world isn't black and white. It's not simple. And that's okay. And that's something people really need to understand. It's okay to not know everything. It's okay to know you're ignorant on some things. And that's okay. But the difference comes when you're being a complete asshole about things. When you're pretending to be virtuous when in reality you're just ignorant. Who cares if someone's trans? Who cares? At the end of the day, it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect me. So why are we going to go out of our way to cry about all these topics and issues? At the end of the day, us Americans, speaking to my American audience, we have our amendment rights. We are allowed to say whatever, whenever, at least for the most part. And we're also allowed to do what we want. So if you're looking to ban trans rights or gay rights, that is already non-American in and of itself. I don't care. As a cis straight guy, I really don't care. Okay? I don't see why people care so much. And Elon Musk, if you really, really, really cared about free speech, you wouldn't be putting tweets like this. I don't care if you're joking or not. At the end of the day, you're just coming off as too virtue signaling. You don't care about free speech. You don't care about this. You don't care about that. It just seems like you really want to pander towards a conservative audience. And look, just admit it, bro. Just at least admit it. It'd make everyone much happier, much easier for at least us to. It's kind of like that running joke of you should never ban the Confederate flag because it's always easier to spot racist because they'll be having like Confederate flags on their shirt or they'll have a flag or whatever. And you know, there's that running joke. I feel like the same can apply for people who at least admit they're liberal or conservative. At the end of the day, who cares, okay? Like, who cares? Who cares? Let's just be blunt and respectful to one another, okay? And I know that's controversial to say, but it's the truth. But hey, that's what my channel is all about. We just talk about things. I might be wrong. I might be right. That's why we have the comment sections open to everyone. You can tell me what you think, and we'll have a civil conversation about it. But that's how I am. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope Hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you agree, disagree? I don't know. What do you think of Elon's comments? I don't know. It is up to you. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, do everything you gotta do. I'll see y'all in the next one. Ciao.
Yeah, we broke and we know it, we don't act like all these other rappers acting like they got racks. Borrow cars, but we whipping in my mom's truck. 99 full, but act like it's a double R. Yeah, we broke and we know it, we don't act like all these other rappers acting like they got racks. Borrow cars, but we whipping in my mom's truck. 99 full, but act like it's a